So I'm using this pectin. It's for low sugar recipes. I'm also using this as my sugar substitute. So the recipe is 1 box of this stuff, 3 quarts of fruit, 4 cups of sugar, and that'll make 8 jars. So we're gonna get that going. So here they are, the fresh cherries. I have some water heating up for the lids. Now you don't have to boil these. Once the water is hot enough, like you see the little bubbles, they're done. So what I'm gonna do is turn it off. And the reason you do that is because the lid has a rubber like ring on the inside that makes it kind of sticky. So when you put it on your jar, they'll stick and seal. So I have a case of 12 jars right now. I have 10 washed here. And this is a water canner, which you just put the jars in it and cover them with water a little bit boiling. Jam doesn't take long, maybe, I don't know, 10, 15 minutes, something like that. This is not a pressure canner though. That's for different things. This is a water bath canner, and I'll show you how I pitted the cherry. So I couldn't do it with my hands. Some people just crack them open with their nail and pop out the seed, but I got this thing. Actually, my husband got it for me. You put the cherry in here and you go like this, and the little seed pops out of here. It works 95% of the time. I always check to make sure, like I'll stick my finger like in the cherry like this just to make sure that it's actually gone from there, because the last thing you want to do is take a bite of cherry jam and get a pit and like break a tooth or something. So I'm going to get this going and I'll tell you what I put in. So I added the pectin, I added the sugar, and this is a little tip that I have. My mother actually taught me this. See that little stick of butter? It's like almost a tablespoon. You add that to your jam when you're making it because it prevents the top of the jam to get this like foam. If you've ever seen some homemade jams, they have this foam on the surface and it just doesn't look pretty. So that will prevent the foam from settling in. And I'll bring you back as this starts to cook down. As you can see, it's starting to bubble and it's going to start breaking down. Now it's really bubbling. Look at that. So we're going to keep letting this cook down. It will thicken eventually. It's just going to take a little bit. I think if you make a smaller quantity, it'll be a lot faster. But if I'm going to go through all this trouble of pitting these cherries and washing the jars and putting the lid in the hot, in the hot water, I'm just going to make a larger quantity. I know that there are some people that can the entire summer. Man, I wish I had the time to do that. But I can what I can, and I can what we like to eat. Like, I don't can things we don't like. One year I decided to make pickles, and I don't know what I did wrong, but they ended up tasting like turpentine. It was horrible. So now it's starting to thicken up, and I don't like it too chunky. So what I do to help it along is I use an emulsion blender, one of these things. I don't know if you have one. Don't use a blender like with the 2 paddles, like to make cakes. Don't do that. I've tried that, and it was a disaster. So I gave it a little whirl with this. This is okay to put into that liquid, and it just helps to break it up a little bit. See, look, it has a blade. They're really nice to have, very handy around the kitchen. So look how dark and smooth it is now. Want to know how you know it's ready? Take a little bit and put it on a plate and let it cool off a little. And look, see how it's kind of thick? Yep, that's your jelly or jam. People call it different things in different places. So now it's time to delicious, jar it up. Since I have one hand, because I don't have a little tripod for like a tabletop, I guess I should get one of those. I'm going to show you one and then I'll do the rest. So this is what we need. You need a funnel. You need this little stick with a magnet. It's going to help you get the lids out of the hot water. This is for measuring from the top. See how deep you want it. And this end is to go around the edges to get any bubbles out. And then this thing is to pick up your jars. So basically you go like this. You pick them up like this. When I started canning, I used to do it backwards and I was wondering why the jars were falling. But you know, I've learned through the years of doing this. So I put my funnel in the jar, and what you do is you fill it up to this line. It never goes above that line, and don't can things that are below here because that's too much space. It always goes to the bottom line here. That's your fill line. Yeah, it can be messy, but what are you gonna do? That's part of cooking. See, I'm almost there. Almost there, just a teeny bit more. All right, you see I made it to that line. So now I'm gonna pull this out. We're gonna take this and go like this. Even though to jams, I normally don't do this, but any other vegetable, do it. Then you have a paper towel wet on the end, and you have to wipe this lid. If you don't wipe the lid, it won't seal proper. And if you fill all these jars and you have some that don't seal, it's okay. Just put them in the fridge and then you can use them before the other ones. So you see, look, see how? Because if I can't put my hands in that hot water. So I do that like that, and then I take a ring and you pop it on and you just do finger tight. That's it. That one's waiting to go in my water bath canner, and I'll bring you back what I have. So here we are. It's been about 10 minutes, probably about 12, because I walked away a little longer than I should have. So I'm gonna take them out now. You have to be very careful. You don't want to get burned. And then you place them on your counter on a towel. And when they seal, you should hear like a little pop. And this seal in the middle, see, it's elevated now, but it'll go down and it'll seal itself. Should happen as they start cooling. Now, when you take jars out of a canner, you're waiting for them to seal, don't touch them. Don't move them, don't shake them. Some people turn them upside down. My mother used to do that. Sometimes she did, sometimes she didn't, but I just take them out and I just put them on a towel and I leave them alone for a while. And I listen for that pop. I'll come back in like, I don't know, a half hour or something and just check on them. But anyway, I'll bring you back when that happens. Two of them have popped and it's only been like 2 minutes. See, that one's flat. This one's flat, but this one is still elevated a little. See, it looks kind of like it's raised. So once this one pops, hopefully it does, they'll all be sealed. But hey, 2 out of 3 isn't bad. Finally popped. I heard a little pop from the other room.